I think I hear Dylan.
He's on call.
Yeah, I know. Are we
Okay,
doing
so,
Q&A today?
yeah, we could do Q&A if anybody has any questions. Anybody has any leads that they want us to help them with?
I have a question.
I
Sure.
think I hear Dylan.
He's on call.
Yeah, I know. Hey, Angie, your YouTube is,
Rachel?
yeah, your YouTube, when you went live,
Yes, I know. I was like, wait a minute, what?
yeah, it was playing back everything.
Yes.
I was like, I'm not talking right now. Like, wait, I just said that.
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So Liz, sorry about that. You had a question?
No, that's okay. I just had a quick question. I'm working on a foreclosure deal and probably I was going the direction of just assigning it / wholesaling it. But I just want to make sure, and I did post this in kind of the PACE group, but I thought I'd bring it up while we're on this call. I'm curious because the seller is in the rears about $40,000 in payments, but there's a large rehab that's going to need to take place because his house is kind of a mess. So I just didn't know if that would automatically kind of knock out the sub-2 conversation, just because you'd have to reinstate the loan and then do all that. I just kind of wondered, like, what knocks that kind of an opportunity off the table. I know that goal is always to kind of present multiple types of offers. So I guess I'll stop there and you can ask me any questions.
Okay.
Liz, can you say that again? I can help her with this one. Can you say that again? It was kind of breaking up.
Yeah, I can turn my volume up a little bit if that's helpful. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Okay. So it's a foreclosure deal. Their foreclosure date is next month. They're about 40,000 in the rears right now in payments. And it's going to be a pretty hefty rehab. I'm thinking like around 70K in rehab costs. And there is equity in the property. So I'm just thinking along the lines of, like, what would be an offer outside of like a typical wholesale deal, right? Where I'm assigning the contract and making a spread on that piece versus, like, I would love to do a sub-2 deal where it makes sense, but I just feel like in this scenario that I'm giving you, it appears that I'd have to reinstate the loan. I do know that about sub-2. I'm not really sure which direction to go. I just kind of want to make sure I covered all my bases.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple plays you could do. Somebody just said in the comments, you could do a novation, which, I mean, in that case, it could work, but they're behind, right? There's 40K in arrears, so you have a timeline. And when's the sale date? When's the auction?
It's like middle of May,
Oh, so it's coming up pretty soon.
pretty quick.
I mean, it just all depends, right? Like a buyer, it all depends on what kind of buyer you're gonna send this to. Are you gonna lock it up on a sub-2? Is it gonna be all cash? A novation? Is it a flip?
I mean,
Right?
would they want to do an all? I mean, wouldn't they want cash if they have equity in the home? The whole reinstatement, like, are there parameters that would kind of kick this out where you'd be like, no, this wouldn't be a good situation to offer sub-2 to them? Are there any?
Just the only time it's not going to work is if the numbers don't make sense, where there's no way you can cash flow, or there's no way to, flip it and make a profit, right? So, like, if they have a 2% interest rate, there could be some opportunity there, right? Do you know what the rate is?
No, I was gonna head over to the property tonight, so I was just kind of curious. Yeah, so you're saying if the rate's low, then of course it would make sense to find a buyer. I could still assign it, but find a buyer that is excited about the fact that they don't mind putting money into the rehab and maybe fixing and flipping, but they're going to get it at that low interest rate, and they could either buy and hold it, they could flip it. Is that what you're saying? And or
Yeah,
wrap it?
and I just kind of would need to know a little bit more about the deal. Like, what's the purchase price, right? What are you buying at loan to value or ARV? 'Cause I mean, if you're getting this for, 50 cents on the dollar, then yeah, it's going to be a good deal. But if you're buying it for, I'm just using random numbers, for 300 and it's worth 350, I can already tell you that's not a deal, right? You're going to need a lot of equity, especially if it's 40K in arrears plus 70K in rehab. We're going to need a big difference between what we're getting it at and what you could sell it for
Okay.
if you're going to go the flip route.
And this is, I think, kind of where it starts to get foggy for me. So I apologize, but like, if I don't want, like, if I just want to assign it, right, and wash my hands clean of that, I can still pitch the sub 2 deal and then basically wrap it where I wouldn't, like, I basically
You're
find,
asking if you can assign a sub 2 deal? Is that basically what you're asking?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, you could assign anything, right? You can assign an ovation. So yeah, if that answers your question, yeah, you could lock it up sub 2 and assign it, but you got to make sure it's a good deal first, right?
Right, if the
Oh.
numbers make sense, I guess, is the
Yeah.
next piece. I was
Yeah.
just trying to, in my head, think about like what to present to the seller. Like, hey, here's kind of what I can offer you from a cash standpoint. However, your interest rate is X, and kind of walk them through the basics of the sub 2 and see if it's something. And again, it depends on, a couple of things like you're mentioning, but I'm just kind of, as I'm thinking about it in my head, where I go next with this and how do I make sure that I've just, that I'm saying, hey, these are 2 options that you could essentially look at. And then after I've kind of done all my number checking on the back end, and then it's just a matter of finding the right buyer or private money lender to help facilitate that. Is that correct?
Yeah, in a way. What's the purchase price on it? What does the seller want?
I don't have my husband, actually. I've been working on this with him and he has all those details. I
Okay.
don't have
Well,
that.
if you get the numbers later, you can just call me or Dylan and we can go over it and help you
Okay,
break it down to see
that would
like,
be,
because I don't have enough information right now, so I can't give you, good advice because all I know is 40K in arrears needs a lot of rehab,
okay. Yeah,
right? And I
that
can't
would be
really do
great.
anything after that. But yeah,
Yeah.
if you get all the information on it, the numbers and what does the seller want, what's their rates, what's their PITI, then I can be able to break it down and tell you exactly what kind of play you can make on it.
Okay. That would be really great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no
Also, what
problem.
I would suggest is in the chat, I posted a lead form. So we have a pre-foreclosure lead form that will have all of the numbers that we will need to help you underwrite the deal.
Oh, great.
So you can either submit the lead form once you have all the information. I think that would be the easiest for us to call you back to help you once you have all that information.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else have any more questions or want us to go over a lead? I'm gonna post the poll. Maybe you guys could tell me what you wanna do today. I just posted it. I think Dylan's still on the call. Okay, agent outreach.
Yeah, if you got a question, go ahead and ask it.
I taught Dylan already knows. He was with me.
Underwriting cash.
I
There you go.
know
Got a question? Is anybody stuck on anything or, you were confused about something?
Joey, do you have any deals you're working on right now?
Yeah,
that you could share?
We got a million bills we're working right now.
I can tell you guys some scary stories about us not checking the insurance on a deal we were doing and we should have.
Yeah, you should tell them
so
that
we-
story.
We purchased a property in Texas, right? Closed on it.
Corpus
And
Christi, yep.
we closed on it and we had it ready to assign. But that was like a 2 or 3 month period. Well, right when the day we were assigning it, we might have even assigned it.
We were wrapping it. is what we
Yeah,
were-
we were wrapping it, and there was a fire that happened that took place outside. Now you think, oh, you got insurance, it's going to cover it. Well, the type of insurance that they have is, I guess it's the cheapest policy you could get in Texas. They don't really do them anymore. But in there, it states if you as the owner are going to be gone longer than 60 days from the house, like moving out, even if you're doing like repairs or whatever, that you have to notify them, let them know that. And if you don't notify them, let them know that, then they have the option to not cover the claim. So we're in the process of trying to get that handled now. We have a couple good things working for us, but the moral is, you need to go over the declaration page at least in the insurance on the home that you're purchasing, just to make sure that it has the proper coverage in it and you minimize those risks. So I mean, 3 of them started on fire in that neighborhood, but so we think it's kids, but what are the odds of that happening just like that and that type of insurance? And so now we got to get an attorney. So we're going to have to pay the attorney, for however long we got to utilize them. And we're going to have that money up front before we ever even know if we're going to get paid on the claim. So read your insurance documents. The declaration page usually has all that on there, but you want the whole policy if you can get it.
And add yourself as additionally insured and change it to a landlord policy. Because we bought it and we're like, we're not going to change our name on the insurance because we're going to wrap it. So we're going to wait for our buyer and put their name on the insurance. Well, that was where we messed up because now we have to, luckily the seller's nice and he's working with us, but we need him to do anything to get paid for this insurance claim. When if we would have just added ourselves as additionally insured right when we closed, we wouldn't be worrying about any of that. So that's a big key. You should remember is add yourself as additionally insured and change it to a landlord policy ASAP. Because you can go to wrap it and then the house starts on fire. And then you're in our situation. No one's got any questions?
Hey, is anyone working on any land deals in down in Point St. Lucie by any chance?
No, not working anything over there, but if you got any questions about land, Dom knows the most about land.
Oh yeah. Well, it's kind of new for me too. I don't really know what I'm doing, to be honest. Sorry, I just I passed by something and it kind of looked interesting. It's a commercial zone by in I-95 down in Point St. Lucie. I don't know if anyone's familiar down there, 34986. But I was just because I was working with someone else on something else, and I know land is down there is going for point I'm sorry, 10,000 square foot is going for like anywhere from 50 to 100K. So what I got right now that I was looking at that came up is it's an auction for 3.4 acres and it's going for 200K. So I'm just kind of looking at it. I don't know if what did you say, Tom? Tom was the guy up in there?
No, Dom, but he's not. It looks like he's not at his screen.
Oh no.
But what was your play with the land? What was your idea?
It looks like because my buyer that I was originally gonna do a deal with, he wanted he was looking to make a purchases. He was looking to pick up 8 more plots for like I think 70K or 80K. And so I'm just looking at this, and it would make more sense to buy this big patch. You know, if he's looking to buy 8 more singles, you know, why not just buy a whole big thing, you know? So like I said, I'm still new to all this, so I don't know, I'm just coming in here, you know, as like, you know, a regular guy, so I don't do all this like building stuff. But I mean, I'm just looking at it, and like the numbers are making sense where like instead of you know what I mean? So instead of buying like 8 plots for 80 grand, you know, right here you got, you know, double that for going for 200, but it's for auction, so I can't, you know, I don't
Can't
know.
lock it up and wholesale it, is what you're saying, right? Because it's for auction.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I would, if anything, it would have to be like a double close type of thing where like I would have to get the funding for it and purchase it and then sell it that way.
Yeah, I would just make sure your buyer even wants it first. Just present
Yeah,
their time, be like, hey, what would you pay for this? And
yeah,
if it's
yeah.
over what you can, bid for it, you can do a double close. But I wouldn't just lock it up if you if you don't have a buyer yet.
Yeah, no, of course. That's why, like I said, I've been trying to get in contact with him. I don't know what he's doing. It's crazy, you know. Yeah, no, I don't know. It just looked kind of neat. I wanted to see if anyone else, you know, maybe had any eyes around there.
Yeah, put it in the lead form. Um,
Uh,
we can go over it.
should I should I drop it in chat or sorry, I'm not sure.
No, I think
I can't.
Rachel, did you post?
I just
no.
posted it again.
Okay, I
Yeah,
can put
it
it
should be in the
here.
chat, and you can just
Yeah, in the
put all the
chat.
information in there.
Okay, awesome, super.
Yeah, because it's not easy for us to give you the best advice if we don't have all of the information, and we don't want to tell you something wrong.
Yeah, no, of course. Like I said,
Exactly.
I'm new to all this, so I'm just, you know, I've been having fun, you know, trying to help out people, and I like it, and you know, so I'm not really, you know, best guy, but yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'll see what I can plug in, and yeah, definitely, thanks, appreciate it.
No problem. And Stacy says, I have a question about finding foreclosures on PropStream. It's literally just a drop down. It's one of those little menus. I'll share my screen and show you. So like literally whatever you type in up here, so I can just do like, can you see my screen?
Yes,
So I'll just
Yeah.
do Thornton,
I see it.
and it's literally right there. Pre-foreclosures. Click it. It gives you all of them.
But Joe, if you go up to the filter,
Mhm.
here's a really key part that you want with foreclosures is the auction date. So the auction date, you want it to be you want it to be in the future, because this will show you these 70 properties. A lot of them, their auction dates may have already passed. It's just showing you all of the foreclosures. Yeah, so these are their recording dates, meaning that's when they were issued their notice of default, but it's not necessarily their auction date. These are all might be pre-foreclosures, and then so the difference between pre-foreclosure and actual foreclosure means they have not been issued an auction date. So
Okay.
you're in pre-foreclosure. Once you get issued your auction date, you're officially in foreclosure. So that's the difference. So when you're looking in PropStream at specifically foreclosures, you want to make sure that auction date is set for any time in the future, because it will show you foreclosures that have already happened in the past, which you don't want, right? There's nothing we can do now. But when you're looking at pre-foreclosures, you're fine because they haven't sold yet. They haven't been given an auction date. So hopefully that helps.
Okay. Yeah, because that's kind of where I'm at right now, just looking at pre-foreclosures with low equity. And then on top of that, you know, because I'm new to it and I'm learning day by day about with investing. And so my other question from that is, once I do find the leads, am I supposed to contact the listed agent that that it failed on, or contact the owners?
Yeah, good question. So if it's listed on market, I would call that agent and gather some
Okay.
information, see how it's going. But if it's, PropStream is going to show you on market and off market foreclosures. So if it's off market, you're going to skip trace and contact that seller directly.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. And I also have another question too.
Sure.
I'm glad I got invited to this group. So I'm dealing with two novations. One is with a seller in my backyard, if you want to put it that way. One is a free and clear property, but the seller, he just wants to get rid of it. He's had it on the market for too long. Many people have bid on cash on it. So I've been following up with the agents, because four agents have had this property listed and couldn't get it to sell. So this last agent that I'm actually talking to, which is a follow-up, I spoke with him yesterday regarding the property and to see what was going on, and come to find out they were trying to see if the city was able to I guess switch the zoning from commercial / residential to just residential. And I explained to him, I said, well, there's probably whether the city is not switching the zoning to that property. And I still give him no information on that one to see if we can come to some type of mutual agreement on that. He said he's gonna follow with the owner to see if he can really strongly that option to him. But my question is, I'm kind of like, well, who I need to go to if I was to get this under a novation, and how will I be able to negotiate that novation terms to the agent and the owner, because I don't want to look stupid,
Yeah.
Pitching something strongly to him, and then I don't know how to term it out or anything like that. So I feel like I'm okay with that, but that's where I'm at right now with that one. And then another one is another novation, and the two owners, one is 80 and one is 100. They don't live in the home. They've been out of the home since October. And the daughter, she only has what do you call it? She only has like a will with her mother, but not a will with the father. So the father is the main one that is going through the situation of trying to sell the home, and he's still attached to the home. But I also pitched a novation to that one because he was getting a lot of cash offers, but for some reason the he's not taking any cash offer. It's like a needle in a haystack with him. But I did follow up with that agent. He wanted to see if I wanted to cancel the whole offer, but I was like, no, I don't want to cancel it, because I actually want you to literally try to get the owners over the phone, and we try to talk to them as best as we know how, because they can't live in there and the home's empty and the daughter doesn't know what to do. She wants to just get rid of it and take the money from what's earned and put them in assisted living. So and they don't stay in the same state anymore. They stay in Georgia. So the property is just sitting there empty, and I already have a buyer that's willing to take that that offer if we just kind of get that agent to kind of push that push those terms to the previous owners and the daughter, just so we can close that chapter for them. And I don't know how to skip trace or anything like that to try to even get to the daughter or the mom. I don't even know if they have cell phones. So it's kind of like, like, where do you go from this point? Either keep following up with the agent or find some kind of way to send some postcards out. I just don't know what to do with that one, but I do need some help on just two of those novations that I've really been strongly encouraging the agents on.
Gotcha. Okay. So you have a couple of novation deals. First piece of help I'll give you, I just posted an Instagram handle in the chat. This is good. This will be good for
Okay.
everyone. This guy, his name is Eric Brewer. He's an expert with novations. I just found him on Instagram, and he has a lot of really great content about how to pitch novations, structure them, wholesale them, take them down, all that good stuff. So I would, if you have Instagram, he's probably on YouTube and Facebook as well, but Eric Brewer Invest with all the underscores. Check him out. That'll be a really good resource for you, Stacy.
Mhm.
I highly recommend that. I've been watching his content for the past couple of days, and yeah, he definitely knows what he's talking about when it comes to novations.
Mhm.
So there was a lot there, so it's hard for me to remember. So the first
Yeah.
one, I can't. Yeah, so the second one, the agent isn't willing to pitch it for you, or they're not willing to talk to the seller for you.
Yeah, it's like with the second agent, the one with the 80 and 100. I'm just not for. He's saying he's pitching offers that's coming to him directly, even with my own offer. And I'm like, well, what are the sellers saying? You know, are they wanting to move forward, backwards? Like, what is it? And he's I guess he's stubborn, as if he doesn't know how to really engage to them because they're older people, but it's like you can talk to them just like any other people.
Yeah.
But I did mention to him that if he, does it where I'm literally in his office and he's phone conference us together with the owners and the daughter, however he wants to put it, if he could just put us in one kumbaya phone call, and I can actually talk to the owner and just kind of let the owner know, hey, I'm interested in your property, and I really want to come in and see what we can do to help you guys move to another chapter of your life. That's kind of where I was going to come at him with, so I wouldn't try to make it look like, well, I want to buy your house and I want to fix it up.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like I'm thirsty for the home, but I actually want to make him know, hey, there's a person that's interested, and I need to know from his word of mouth, what does he feel? How does he feel about me? Taking over his property and fixing it up and getting it ready for another buyer to come in and live in it again, because that's pretty much what I was thinking as a novation, was just fixing and flipping it and making it new for a new buyer to come in.
Right. Okay. I got you. So the agent, do you feel like he's not explaining the offer or presenting it to you, or like relaying what their comments are? So you're trying to get in touch with the actual seller.
Yeah.
You could, I mean, you're not an agent, right, Stacy?
Right. I'm not an agent.
Okay. So I mean, you're in your full right. You can skip trace the seller and try to contact them directly. My guess is if he's having a hard time pitching it, you're going to also have a hard time. At 80 years old, they're not going to understand what a novation is, and they're not going to care about a fix and flip, right? Like, they just want a normal traditional offer, which obviously they're not getting, right? So, but for someone that's 80 years old, like, I'm just trying to put myself in their shoes. They're probably not wanting to partner with a fix and flipper to sell their home, like, that's just kind of my guess. But you never know, right? So I would maybe try to, skip trace the seller, and see if you can't get in touch with them directly and lay out a novation agreement. So that's what I would do for that one. And what's the issue with the first one again?
The first one, with this one, was another agent. The home is in my backyard, basically in the same city, same state. But the seller has this property free and clear. They've had this on the market for quite some time. And the home is unlivable. It needs tons of work. A traditional buyer really couldn't buy it if they wanted to, because it wouldn't qualify for certain particular loans. So
Right.
He did get a traditional buyer to come in on this deal, and it was a sweet offer to the seller, even though my offer was still on the table to this person. But I still, like I said, been following up. And I think the agent explained to me yesterday that they had found out some new information, which I was already aware of that news. But he said that the property, the city has its own for commercial/residential, and it's not residential, and they're trying to get it all switched to just only residential. And I'm like, well, it's not going to get switched, you know, at the end of the day, because the property doesn't look like it could be residential. It still looks like it's in distress, and it's in an area where, you know, a complex is right next door to it. So it's kind of like they're looking at it like, you know, whoever had this property before probably had this probably as a property management type situation where they were renting in it before. So I told him, I said, you know, all in all, it needs to be an ovation at the end of the day, because, you know, if I do a cash offer on it, it might be too low for the seller, which it was, because I came to him with a low offer. And he was like, no, that's not good enough. So I just felt I still follow up with him. But at the end of the day, I told him, you know, with a cash offer, me pitching another cash offer to him is still not going to be enough, because you still have to put the work in the home and make it livable again and get it qualified for the loans and things like that. So that's why that novation came up. And I mentioned to this agent on the same thing, and he wanted to know if a novation is moving forward and we can get it up, and they can't get the zoning cleared out, and it has to still remain as commercial slash rent, residential, what will my terms look like? And that's when I told him, I said, well, you know, let's follow up with each other and see what happens with this, because I actually want to do an ovation agreement on that and set some terms up. So my issue is, if we agree to terms, you know, I don't want to look stupid in the ball game trying to pitch an ovation and I don't have someone that can come in and, you know, do that deal and set it up, you know, and structure it out for me, you know, in a correct way. So that way it's way off of my shoulders that I don't have to worry about. I think that's where I'm at right now on that one. I got a feeling he's going to call me back and say, hey, we can agree on it and let's go. And then I don't know what to tell him from that point.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, so there's zoning issues, you know, and our team has never done a novation. We've pitched it a ton. You know, I have a pretty good idea of how to structure it. But you know, either way, like, you know, a novation is a little bit better than a cash offer, because
Yes.
you're basically, what you're doing is you're renovating it, right, and then you're bringing your end buyer to the table. So now you know exactly what your ARV is, right? Versus a cash deal is like you're estimating your ARV and you're being conservative, right? But with an end buyer, you know exactly what your ARV is. So but still, like,
Yes.
you know, novations are underwritten very similar to cash deals. So it's not like, you know, if your cash offer was way too far off, it's not like your novation is going to just magically get him his number. So just go into it understanding that. I would say, you know, it's probably something, novations are tricky, because there's a certain way, a certain type of seller, a certain type of property that's going to accept a novation. So I would say it sounds like you might just need to do your homework a little bit more, Stacy. I would say watch a few more PACE videos on how to structure novations. And then I highly recommend follow that Eric Brewer Invest guy on Instagram, follow him on YouTube. Because you really want to understand novations before you start pitching them, because it's not like it's a magical solution. It's a little bit better than a cash offer in my understanding. So I would say definitely, you know, do a little bit more due diligence on that property, especially with permitting issues. You know, that could be very hard to then resell that property. So
Yeah.
you might end up, Dom always tells us this. Dom always says a bad deal is worse than no deal. You know, if they agree to your contract, right, and now you're like, okay, well, shoot, now what do I do, right? You're just going to waste not only your own time, but also that seller's time, that agent's time, to not even be able to get it financed or get it, you know, the project moving. So make sure you really have a plan of attack first, and understand that market, and have a team behind you. So have a general contractor that can go out and quote the renovations for you. Because who knows, it could even be a bad deal for you monetarily, right? Like, let's say you get it to the end table, right, and your end buyer comes in and you end up even losing money. I you know, I have no idea, but just all things to consider. So I would say, 100% do. I would say my recommendation is do a little bit more due diligence.
Yeah, the only reason why I had mentioned that because I had fix and flippers that have like the own contractors. Is just I guess I was questioning that first the second buyer on the on Novation on the other one too, but I had went because I go to a lot of meetups and stuff, so I try to go to the ones that have contractors already on their side and just try to gather information from them how they process a Novation. If I was to wholesale them a deal Novation, how do they want their deals to be structured? That's kind of where I'm at with it sometimes. But I just like to always make sure I always have a plan A and a plan B and a plan C. So if I can't work the A out, I know how to do B and C, which is go.
Right. I love it. Right on. And then let me see if I could post this. Yeah. If you want a little bit more information on it too, check out the chat. I just posted a link. You can fill out the information of that deal in that link, and we can give you a help with more information on it. So, Jeff, you had a question, brother?
Hey, Dylan, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm learning very quickly. So I'm maybe 8 days in from being exposed to PACE.
Nice.
Trying
Congrats.
to make my way through the elephant challenge. Am I missing something big? But trying to watch the videos, I keep looking for, here's how you submit something to an agent. We'll go through it in Privy, and I'm like, but I can't find it in Privy, and I can't find that video. So is this just email somebody and I'm overthinking it?
Are you talking about like submitting an offer?
Yeah. So if hey Angie, I see a house you have listed down in Denver. I'm up in Lafayette. Here's my offer.
Mhm.
Is it just email directly, or is there something I'm missing?
Yeah. Great question, actually, Jeff. Let me show you something. Are you a part of our Facebook group? Do you know?
I am. Yeah.
You are? Okay, great.
Well, maybe. Which Facebook group?
Yeah. It's called the Herd of Profits.
No.
No. Okay. Here, let me invite you to it.
Thank you, Dylan.
Yeah, of course.
I also put the link in the chat too.
Thank you, Rachel.
Okay, perfect. And I'll just add you on Facebook too, so we have you as on there. If it ever loads.
Too many tabs.
I know. You should see Angie's computer.
You don't want to see my computer.
Is this you, Jeff, right here?
Yep, that's me.
Okay. Thanks, man. So let me open the chat. Herd of Profits. I'll click on this. So yeah, man, we have these great tools. They're called letters of intent. It's basically a mock offer.
Mhm.
It's exactly how it sounds. Like, here's my intention. Like, let me see what you think of this. And if you like it, we can move forward with an actual purchase and sale agreement. So yeah, make sure you're a part of our Herd of Profits Facebook group. Once you're in here, come to this Files tab. Right, am I in the right place, Rich? Yeah, Files. Okay, there we go. It loads. So what you are doing, what you're looking for, so we have 3 different letters of intent. And this is going to be maybe a little bit high level for where you're at, but there's 3 letters of intent. One is seller finance. So they have no equity. It's all seller finance. That's this letter of intent. One of them is just a subject to letter of intent, where we're just going to give the seller a down payment and take over their loan. So that's subject to. And then the third one, that's this one right here, subject to only LOI. And then the third one is this hybrid LOI, where let's say they want 300,000 and they have 150,000 in equity. Doesn't make sense for us to give them all 150. So we might give them 30, 40, 50,000 as a down payment, and then seller finance the rest, and then take over the mortgage subject to. So that's a hybrid letter of intent. Then another nugget for you, a great tool that we use to fill these out is this website right here. It's called dochub.com. It's a free PDF editor, probably one of the best in the business. You can edit up to 5 PDFs a day with the free version. It might prompt you to put in a credit card, but that's just prompting you to pay for the pro version. So the free version, you get 5 free PDFs a day. So you can send 5 offers a day. And then you just throw in that letter of intent. Like, here's one that we sent out today. This is just a subject to letter of intent. So here's our offer price, here's our down payment, and then here's where we're taking over the mortgage. So that's just the subject to LOI. But that's the best way to get out offers. It's a little bit more formal. It's not as formal as sending an actual contract. But most states accept letters of intent as an offer.
Okay. And so I don't know if this is a dumb question. If you were doing just a normal wholesale, I don't think I would have used any of those 3 though.
So like if your intent was to lock a property up creatively and wholesale it,
Yeah, or just identify it for an end buyer for somebody who does fix and flips.
yeah.
That
So
was going to be a cash buyer.
cash, right? So that's what's good about these as well too, is that we have also offer 2 is cash. So you can not only send a creative offer, but you can also send a cash offer, and this is on all 3 of those.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And then you can modify this as well too. So, like if you just wanted to send a cash only letter of intent, you can, just basically eliminate all of this offer 1. You can just come in here, click this eraser tool. And then just basically delete all this. And then maybe just come up here, down here, and just copy all of this verbiage and then throw it up here. And then you have a 1-page letter with just a cash offer.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. But on the other side of that too, if your idea or you're looking to get into wholesale, you can wholesale creative deals as well too. So that's what we do. Our primary business model is wholesaling creative finance deals.
Okay. Yeah, I think that helps a little bit. And then it is no more complex than just email that to the selling agent, right?
Precisely. Yep. Send that
Okay.
over. That's legit. Our business model right there, Jeff, is we send out a good 10 LOIs, letters of intent per day, follow up with those agents, see which ones are willing to move forward. Once they're willing to move forward, we'll send them an actual purchase and sale agreement, get them under contract, and then wholesale that contract.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. That's it for now. It's really helpful. Thanks, Dylan.
Right on. All right. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it, man. Welcome to the Sub2 community, brother. Hopefully we see you some more.
Yeah, you will. Thanks.
Thanks, man. All right. Any more questions? Where's your questions, Nah? Want to ask me a question?
Thanks for going over that, Dylan. It took us a long time to get that little model down.
Man, yeah,
So-
we did not know. I mean, Jeff, yeah, like we were at the beginning, we were just calling sellers and say, hey, like we were calling $3 million, $2 million mansions in the mountains of Breckenridge, Colorado, and saying, hey, we want to buy your house, but we don't have any money. Like, would you sell or finance it? Like we had no idea what we were doing. So once we
There was
figured
just so much coming at us that we were trying, and we wouldn't like concentrate on one way that we were doing it. So it sounds easy, right? Like, oh, well, that's simple. Well, yeah, it is after you banged your head against the wall and kind of figured it out. So yeah, I'm glad we can help, man. I'm glad we can give you some direction.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Really help. And I'm up in Lafayette, Boulder, Erie area. If anybody needs me to drive by or take pictures, happy to do it. So
Love it, man.
I got a buyer up there that they're looking for like to $1 to maybe $1.2 million. Like a patio style home. They don't want to have any
as
kind of
a
maintenance.
ARV is 1 too.
They're homesteaders, so they're end users to it.
Oh, okay. I have maybe 3 addresses to send your way.
All right, right on. Yeah, send it.
Let me, what's the
But-
best way to connect with you, Dom?
So Rachel is my boss. Rachel,
Yes.
should he send those to me direct, or how do you want him to send those to me? Direct?
Um,
Because it's gonna be kind of out, I mean, they could be are they sub twos?
No, they're, I think, kind of just out there right now. I haven't made contact with anybody.
That's fine,
yet,
because
but-
my guys are cash or financed. So I'll just put my email in the chat.
yeah,
Okay.
well, we might have to make like a new lead form or something, but for now, email. But most of the time, like if it's like a normal like deal or like if you guys are a cash buyer or like a buyer, like we have lead forms for all of that. So that way we have all the information. So just easier for us, like a normal lead form. We need certain numbers to be able to underwrite to tell you how to help you proceed with that lead.
Sure, absolutely.
That streamlined our business a hell of a lot, because it eliminated a lot of extra time that we were doing trying to go and find that. And it also created an environment where it required the person to learn those things every
Mhm.
time, because that's how they have to submit it. So it helped on both ends.
Okay, awesome. Well, Dom, I'll email you and you can send, if maybe can I ask that you send a completed lead form and I'll get all those questions answered? And I'll fire it back.
Let's just you and I chat about this one, because it's a little different than normal. So
Sure.
I'll just send me your info and then we'll chat about it.
Can you also CC me on that email too? To make sure that Dom sees it?
Yeah, I got you
Thank
there.
you.
Thanks, Rachel.
Rachel keeps me in line, so
We all need one of those.
otherwise I'll say yes to everything. Oh, send it, and then I'm nuts. And yeah, I'm already nuts, but makes me more
Awesome, guys.
crazy.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Yeah, no
Jeff.
problem.
What's up, Jed? You got a question, brother?
Yeah, so I've been getting a lot of agents lately where the property I'm calling on doesn't really like work out for sub two, but they're really like they know sub two, they're okay with sub two, and they're willing to send me like pocket listings. Like, what's the best way to kind of work on developing that relationship? And I guess how often do you bug them about like, hey, do you have anything? I'm thinking just like a quick text or call or something like that. Like, if you don't have anything, no big deal. Just wanted to follow up and, you know, see how things are going, see if you got anything for me.
Yeah.
I'll chime in on that. Can I chime in on that, Bill?
Yes, sir.
Never say just follow it up. That's the F word. So never say just follow it up. Find something that you've found on the internet or something that would help them. Say, hey man, I thought about you. I found this article about whatever, right? Whatever their area is, whatever, you know, something that maybe you talk to them and they like motorcycles, whatever. Find them something like that and say, hey, I thought of you and I thought I'd send this to you. And by the way, hey, do you have anything going on? You need any help with anything? Do it like that. And it feels
I
a
like
lot
that.
more, yeah, a lot better. But I've done the follow-up so many times that I hate to even tell people how many times I've said that, but I have said that a lot. Oh, just following up, just following up, just follow. And it just gets me nowhere. So don't use that word and try to find something that could add value to them. And then pretty soon you'll just build that relationship and they'll just get comfortable with you and trust you.
Sweet. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Sorry, Deal. Took it. from you.
No, that's good. I was gonna kind of go more into like the system of it, like like how to maybe manage that type of lead. That's definitely something that we need to work on as well too. Like agents where we maybe send an offer on a specific property, but that agent's good just to keep as a relationship. We haven't been the best at like keeping that agent somewhere into a CRM where we're continuously reaching out to her and staying top of mind. So one thing I always love to say, and you've heard me say this before, Jed, is like, save me in your phone as your go-to investor for any sub two deals. I say that all the time. Like, put me in there as Dylan, sub two investor in big bold letters. Like I'm your go-to sub two guy. So give me a call is one great way to like make an agent laugh or build that relationship that way. But as far as like systematize, like remembering to follow up with that person, a CRM, right? Like, because you may not remember that person likes motorcycles, but a CRM is going to help you remind you of that. So it's always like so good, even if you're brand new. Like if you're brand new into this business, like maybe even a Google spreadsheet of like every agent you've talked to, every sub-2 student you've talked to with notes is like so valuable, because you can go back to that and say, oh, I remember that agent said that they get 2 to 3 sub-2 low equity deals a month. I should reach out. Oh, they were going on a trip to San Francisco or something, who knows? But I would say try to systematize and keep a CRM, a spreadsheet at least, something like that. So that would be my advice. Right on. Enrique, you got a question, brother? Enrique.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah,
now.
sorry about that. Yeah. I don't know if you guys seen Pace's live yesterday, but he was talking about people putting memorandums on properties, and they were like really upset about that and stuff. And I was hearing what they were saying, but I didn't completely understand it. Have you guys had any issues with that?
Yeah, Angie. Oh,
I didn't hear what he said.
he was talking about I think it was wholesale hotline, how
Yeah.
Paces were talking about putting memorandums on homes, and how it was the sellers weren't too happy about that. Is that right, Enrique?
Yeah, pretty much. I was trying to understand like who is the one putting memorandums, because they were saying that people actually have like boot camps on how to put memorandums on property. I wasn't sure if wholesalers are doing that, or if, who's actually doing that, and why they were doing it, but seems like
Well,
a big problem that's happening.
in our contracts, it states that we are going to put a memorandum on it when the seller signs it. So that's the only way I was told you are allowed to even put one on, is if you have a contract that states it in the contract. Otherwise, if you don't have it stated in your contract, it's illegal to put a memorandum on the house.
That's just letting everybody know, hey, man, I'm buying this place. It's like putting your quarters up, you old guys, like putting your quarters up on the video game, right? It's like, oh, his quarter's up. All right, this guy's next. So if your quarter's not up, then somebody's going to say, well, this is open, man. I'm going to buy it. So when that quarter's up, then it lets everybody know, like the other title companies know, somebody has a contract on this, man, that you can't sell.
I have no clue what you're talking about, Tom.
Oh, we used to have to go to video arcades, right?
Yeah.
Because our video games at home suck, if we even had them. So we go to the video arcade and there's a line to play Donkey Kong, whatever. So you get up there and there's one dude in line, you put your quarter on next guy. So you got your quarter up, like that's my quarter, that's his quarter, and then you knew who was up next.
Gotcha. Okay. That's funny. But yeah, like Dom said, it's just a memorandum is like, hey, I have dibs on this home. Like they signed my contract. And typically we don't file memorandums for on-market properties. If there's an agent involved, the only reason you want to file a memorandum is when you're dealing directly with a seller, and that seller is probably getting other calls from other wholesalers, right? So if you get a contract on it for, let's say, cash like 500, but another wholesaler calls them the next day and says, hey, I'll offer you 520, that memorandum protects you for them to then sign a new contract with that seller. So if you don't file that memorandum, then they can just go and sell it to that next guy.
Oh, so that makes sense. So it's probably that they're experiencing a lot of like unexperienced wholesalers that are putting memorandums on properties that aren't able to sell, and then an experienced wholesaler comes in and they can't sell it because there's a memorandum on it. Is that where the issue probably is coming from?
That's exactly what it is.
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. We deal with
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we deal with a memorandum issue where this scummy real estate brokerage was putting memorandums on homes. They were targeting people that were, I wouldn't say necessarily in pre-foreclosure, but they were headed in that direction where these agents somehow realized that these people were in a financial distress and they had missed a few payments. Technically, they weren't quite in default just yet. So this agency would send their agents to these homes and offer these people money. They would say, hey, here's $900. Sign this memorandum saying that we get the first right to list your home. So they're basically targeting people in distress realizing that these people are missing their payments, they're going to have to sell their property. They pay them whatever, 500 to $1,000 and have them sign a memorandum
For 40 years.
for 40 years. So that person could not sell their home unless they use that agent. And if they sold their home without that agent, they would have to pay that agent a 3% commission no matter what. So that's another case where people are putting memorandums. It's predatory at 100%. So
That's terrible.
yeah. And that's these wholesalers, whether they realize it or not, whether they know, what they're doing or not, it's also predatory too, because you can't just go and make a high offer where you can't capitalize on it. And then file a memorandum when your seller backs out or whatever, so, or when you can't perform on it too. So
Yeah, they can't file those unless they have that initially in the contract. They can't go back and file a memorandum.
Right.
It has to be
Yeah,
in the initial contract.
It sounds like people are doing it like intentionally too. Like there's actual like mentor type people that are teaching people how to do that. So it's pretty bad. Is there any way around that? Or do you have to?
They could get sued.
It doesn't stand up. They don't have a contract on it. The people never signed the contract stating that they would allow them to do that. So really that wouldn't stand up.
Yeah. They need something signed from that seller. If they don't, then it doesn't stand up. Like in the event of the brokers, we had a property that we had locked up where we found that memorandum. We actually brought it to Pace on a Q&A, and he told us there's nothing you can do. Pay if you're gonna move forward, you have to pay that agent their 3%. There's nothing you can do. You can get a lawyer involved, but it's
They tried, Bill.
Yeah.
Pace and Laura tried to remove it. And he said, whatever they got going on, they know that's their business model. Like that's what they do. That's their exact business model. He said they couldn't get it done. So if Pace couldn't get it removed, man.
We put memorandums to protect us from the seller screwing us.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what we put it on there for.
Yeah.
So they can't go, oh, hey, they signed our contract and they're like, oh, actually, Joey, you had me under contract for 500,000, but Dylan just offered me 520. I'm going to go with Dylan.
Yeah.
That's why we put a memorandum. So they can't do that.
Memorandums aren't a bad thing if you're using them correctly. Again, like because there's a real estate agent involved, when we're dealing with on market, like that real estate agent's not just going to turn around and accept the next highest offer. That goes against their DORA license.
Yeah, they can't.
They can't do that. But a seller doesn't know better. They're going to say, oh, well, I signed a contract with him yesterday, but who cares?
And you have to sue a seller.
Yep.
An agent, you go right to DORA or go right to their managing broker and you say, hey, this is what's going on. And they figure it out pretty quick. But on a seller, what are you going to do? You spend 10, 20 grand to sue them? Because that's probably what it costs.
Yep. Angie also went to law school for a very long time. So that's where she came from. Verbiage in the chat. So all that verbiage in there, that's just freehand knowledge that she knows off the back of her head. Just kidding.
She went to the University of Chat GPT.
Yeah, open AI. Right on.
That's all in her head. That just helps them, write it out better. She knows that stuff.
It writes it down.
It just writes it out. Yeah. Well, we definitely don't want to be doing memorandums if you see somebody doing that and it's not the right way, let them know, man, because we don't want to be like that. We don't want to be those gross people in the industry. We want it to be all on the up and up and win-win for everybody. That's
yeah, of course.
Nasty business.
Yeah, I was grossed out. I'm like, I can't believe people are doing that. But thanks for the clarification.
Right on. Yeah, no, good question, Enrique. I think that provides a lot of clarity and informs some people as well too. I think we'll end it there. Unless anyone has any last minute burning questions. Rachel, do you have anything?
No, unless anyone wants me to put any of the links, the Facebook link or those lead form leads. I have put that in the chat like a few times, but if anyone wants it again, I can do it. But other than that, I think we're good. We're going to meet back. Our next Zoom is on Friday at 10 a.m.
Right on. All right.
Go mess up, guys. Go find some
Thank you,
stuff to
guys.
get into and mess up.
Yeah. Make some phone calls, cause some havoc. Let us know if you guys need help. And we will see you guys Friday.